Okay, great. That's it. Okay, wonderful. We've done that. So, got it. All right, lovely. Okay. So let's begin. Let's start off with our tefillah. And where's it gone? There it is. Oh, I need to do share screen. Share screen. That's it. All right, so this is Lilui Nishmat Pinchas ben Reuven. Ribon Olamim v'Adonai Adonai, Av Rahaman v'Slichot, Modim anachnu lefanecha, Adonai Eloheinu v'le'avotenu, v'kida b'shtachavaya, shekeraftonu letoratcha ולעבודתך עבודת הקודש, ונתת לנו חלק בסודות תורתך הקדושה, מה אנו מחיינו, אשר עשית עמנו חסד גדול כזה, על כן אנחנו מפילים תחנוננו לפניך, שתמחול ותסלח לכל חטאותינו ועוונותינו, ועל יהיו עוונותינו מבדילים בינינו לביניך. וכן יהיו רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו, שתכונן את לבבינו ליראתך ולבבך, תקשיב אוזניך לדברינו אלה. ותפתח לבבינו הערל בסודות תורתך, ויהיה לימודנו זה נחת רוח, לפני כיסא כבודך כרך ניחוח, ותאציל עלינו, אור מקור נשמתנו בכל בחינתנו, שיתנוצצו ניצוצות עבודיך הקדושים, אשר על ידם גלית דבריך אלה בעולם, וזכותם, וזכות אבותם, וזכות תורתם ותמימותם וקדושתם, יעמוד לנו לבל נקשר בדברים אלו, ובזכותם תראיננו במה שאנו לומדים, כמו אמר נעים זמירות ישראל, גל עיניי והביט הנפלאות מתורתך, כי אדוני תן חוכמה מפיו, דעת ותבונה, יהיו לרצון ימי פי, ויגון ליבי לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אמן, כן יהי רצון.
Amen.
בסדר גמור. Wonderful. Now then, we're going to learn an amazing piece about the four sons. Okay? Now, nobody really knows what this is about. I mean, you come to this piece in the Haggadah, okay? It's meant to be telling about coming out of Egypt, all right? And suddenly we get a story about four boys, all right? And usually they're portrayed as the wise one, who's usually got spectacles on, and the wicked one who's got a baseball bat on or something on his face, all right? And the Tom, the innocent one, and the one who doesn't know how to ask, who's represented by a baby, okay? And what on earth is this about, all right? And the honest truth is, it is definitely not about four types of children in that kind of way, okay? And when we go into it, we can find we're actually talking about something very, very inner. So let's go into it from the language of Kabbalah, all right? And then it opens up completely. This whole piece about the four sons begins from the piece which says Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, okay? Baruch HaMakom, which is usually translated as blessed.
Yedida, is there a page? We've still got the Tefillat here on the screen.
What have I got, darling? I'll do it again.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't do it right. Sorry, thanks. There you go. Thank you so much for telling me. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes, that's better. Thank you. All right. So Baruch HaMakom, okay, is actually means blessed is the desire. The desire, okay, is actually the vessel, the place which holds the light, okay? It's actually called, a vessel or a desire in spirituality is called a place. So Baruch HaMakom, blessed is the place. What does it mean? Blessed is the desire of God. What's the desire of God? He wants to give goodness to all created beings. That's his desire. Okay? So the desire of God is to give unconditionally to all. That's the desire of God. Baruch Hu, blessed be that desire. Now for us, okay, we have an opposite desire. We have a desire to receive because we're created from the Malchut. And the desire of the Malchut is to receive. So we say, you know, if we want to come into affinity of form with a desire to give, we also need to learn how to give. How do we do it? The next sentence. Baruch Natan Torah lamo Yisrael Baruch Hu. Through learning the Torah, blessed be the one who gives the Torah to his people Israel. Blessed be he. In other words, we've got the desire of giving. We need to know how to do it through the Torah. Keneged Arba Banim Dibra Torah. So the Torah teaches us about 4 different sons. Now, again, in the language of Kabbalah, father and son is cause and effect. All right? So we've got the desire of giving unconditionally. There are 4 possible effects. All right? One is chacham, one is a wise response, one is a wicked response, one is a simple response, and one is somebody who doesn't really know what's going on. A response which is kind of completely oblivious to the whole idea. All right? So when we are asked in our lives to do something which is giving unconditionally, all right, for example, all the mitzvot, okay, the mitzvot ask us to do something lishma, for its own sake, unconditionally, not for the sake of getting a prize. There are 4 possible responses which arise within us. Let's examine them a little bit more closely. The chacham, okay? First of all, there's a wise response. We're asked to do something unconditionally, okay? Give unconditionally. The wise response within us says, oh, that's interesting. Tell me how to do it. Ma'idut, what's the testimonies? V'achukim, and the statutes, v'amishpatim, and the ordinances, asher tzivah Hashem Elokeinu etchem, which God has commanded you. Tell me how to do it. Tell me how to follow the Torah, which will teach me how to give unconditionally. So you tell him about the rules of Pesach. Now, what's the rules of Pesach when we think about them? The rules of Pesach, in the grandest sort of like broad strokes, without going into details, is basically 2 things. One is get rid of the chametz, okay, and the other one is to eat matzot, okay, in the broadest possible terms, all right. So what is getting rid of the chametz? In the Kabbalah, getting rid of the chametz means don't use your will to receive for yourself alone. That's the chametz. That's the Yetzer Hara. That's like, why is it called the Yetzer Hara? Because it's the dough which rises. It's puffed up beyond its natural proportions. Whereas eating matzah, what is eating matzah about? Staying humble. Going with faith, okay? That's what the matzah is about. It's called lechem, is the bread of faith, is the matzah. Ein maftirim achar pesach afikuman. Now, the honest truth is, I can't actually remember what the inner meaning of that actually is. I'm awfully sorry. I meant to look it up and I forgot. And I don't remember. I learned it a couple of years ago, but I don't remember precisely what that means. So I don't want to mislead anybody. So I'm just going to say, I don't know what that means, all right? But the chacham is clear. It's a part of ourselves. We all have a part of ourselves, which is a chacham, which when we hear about giving unconditionally, we say, yes, We say yes to it. Tell me how to do it. Okay? There's another response within us. Okay, we all have all four. And so another times, it might be a rasha who responds. There's a suggestion to do a particular mitzvah, to give unconditionally. And there's a part within us which says, Ma avodah zot lachem. What does this service mean to you? In other words, he's asking, what has that to do with me? I don't want to be involved. This has nothing to do with me. I do not want to work unconditionally. I want, because this is a natural response of our will to receive for ourselves alone, which says, I do not want to make a single movement unless I know what I'm going to get for it. That's the way of the world. And we all live in the world. So we also have the rasha within us. Okay? Lachem v'lo lo. Okay? In other words, yes, it's okay for you, for somebody else to do giving unconditionally, but it's not okay for me. There's a part within us which actually resents, which actually doesn't want to do anything for ourselves, for somebody else, unless we know what we're going to get for it. If we're told we're going to get something for it, no problem. But if we're not going to get anything for it, we don't want to know. Okay? That's the rasha within us. Okay? And because he took himself out of the general rule of Torah, the rule of Torah being working not for the sake of giving a prize, for getting a prize, giving for this doing Torah lishma for its own sake. Kafar b'ikar. He's denied the real purpose of Torah. What's the real purpose of Torah? To come to the desire that we will be able to serve unconditionally. So, what are we meant to do with this? Okay, is the rasha within us telling a lie? No, he's not telling a lie. He's telling his truth. It's the truth of the ego. Okay, that's what the ego feels, and that's what it's saying. And the answer is, if we try arguing with our ego on this matter, he's going to win, all right? Because the desire of the ego is extremely strong. The desire of the will to receive oneself alone is extremely strong because it's a vessel made by God. So what can be our choice? What do we do here? Afata hakhei et shinav. So what we need to do is hakhei shinav, let him grind his teeth. All right? In other words, don't answer him. Don't answer him. Maximum, just say to him, I hear you, and I'm going to do what I choose anyhow. Ve'emolo, say to him, I want to give unconditionally because of what God did for me when he took me out of Egypt. What is Yetziat Mitzrayim about? It's taking us out of the consciousness of the will to receive for ourselves alone, which is a narrow consciousness, a mitzarim, narrow. The word sal is hidden in there, okay? So I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to only work for myself. Li v'lo lo. In other words, I'm making my choice, okay? And my choice is not what my ego is telling me. Ilo hayasham lo hayanigal. If he had been there, he wouldn't have been redeemed. What does that mean? God doesn't want to redeem everybody? That's God is, what do we say? We say on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, V'kol ma'aminim shu hatov v'meitiv l'ra'im v'latovim. And everybody believes that he is good and does good to the wicked and to the good. Okay? So what? God doesn't want to take people out of Egypt? The problem is he wants to take everybody out of Egypt. But there's a part of ourselves which is simply turning its back. Okay? It's not that God doesn't want to take us out. It's just that when we're associated with our will to receive for ourselves alone, okay, we're choosing not to go out. That's what's happening. It's like somebody who is willfully blindfolding himself, okay, then walks out the front door and says, it's very dark today, okay, all right. So he's not being able to see the sunlight, but that's because he's choosing that. All right, that's the aspect of the Rasha within us. Okay, and we all have the Chacham, we all have the Rasha. All right. Let's find out a little bit about the Tam. The Tam, Ma'omer, simple, perfect, whole. Yaakov is called Ish Tam. All right, Yaakov is called that wholeness. What does he say? Mazot. Very simple. Mazot. The word zot relates to emunah, relates to faith. Okay, and he simply says, I'm doing it. All right, whatever you tell me, I'm doing it. I don't need to go into the details like the Chacham. I want to do it. Mazot. And you should tell him, and you tell him that it was with strength of hand that God took us out of Egypt from the house of bondage. And he just does it from faith. Simple faith. Wholeness. Simple, whole faith. He doesn't need to know any more than that. Chosek yad, strength of hand, is related to Uzroa Netuya, outstretched arm. Chosek yad relates to Gvura, that God took us out with might. And the outstretched arm, the sages teach us in the Zohar that it's what is negative for the ego, which is din for the Mitzrayim within us, the negative for the Egyptians within us, the Egypt side within us, is release and freedom for the soul. Okay? Somebody asked me, he said to me, what does, he didn't really get, what's the difference between the Tam and the Chacham? So I told him a little story, and this is actually a true story. It happened to me a couple of weeks ago. I came home very late to Tzfat. I'd been in Jerusalem, I think it was. That's right, I was. And by the time I caught the train and I caught the bus, I didn't arrive in Tzfat until about 11:05 at night. And I'd missed the last bus going out of the bus station up to my home. So I thought, never mind, I'll cross over to the taxi rank and I'll get a taxi home. And to my surprise, I go to the taxi rank, there's not a single taxi there. So I saw there was a very nice Haredi Chassid standing on the corner there. And I asked him, had he by any chance phoned for a taxi? He had, and he was going up to my neighborhood. So I asked if I could join him, and he said, with pleasure. And so the taxi eventually came. When we got in the taxi, I asked the taxi driver, why was there no other taxis? And he said he didn't know. He said he thought they'd all gone to bed early that night. And then he carried on and told us something. He said he'd been offered a ride, like somebody wanted to take him for a ride all the way to Carmiel. Carmiel's a town, about an hour away from Tzfat. And he would have had a fare of 300 shekels, which is a big fare round here. And he'd refused. Why? Because he said, I can't leave Tzfat with no taxis available. Who knows what somebody might need? Might have an emergency, might need to go to the hospital. I can't leave Tzfat without a taxi. So he turned down a big fare where he could earn a lot of money so that he would be on duty in the night and serving the citizens of Tzfat. Now, it's not an official duty, okay? Nobody tells him he has to be there. And he chose it. And I think that's a beautiful example of mazot, simply doing what's right. okay? Without asking too many questions, should I, shouldn't I? He just did it. And that really, really, really impressed me as a way of acting with tam, from wholeness, from tmimut, from faith, without asking too many questions. So I said to him, how did you feel about giving up the fare of 300 shekels? And he said, my parnasa comes from God. You can learn a lot from the taxi drivers, that's what I can tell you. And the last one is the one who doesn't know even how to ask the question. Like he's not even aware that there is such a thing as giving unconditionally. All right? He's not aware of it. So he's got no lack. Question is a lack. Question is a prayer. All right? And he doesn't know there's anything to worry about. He's not aware that there even is such a thing as the will to give unconditionally. At patachlo, you open for him. At, who's at? The Torah. The Torah itself teaches us what is the intentions, why that we need to serve God unconditionally. Shneim. I remember the Torah is not just the 5 books of Moses, not just the written Torah, it is also the oral law, and it is the Pnimiut Torah, the Hasidut, and the Musar, and the Zohar, the Kabbalah. And you shall tell your son on that day, saying, for what God did for me when I came out of Egypt. Okay, so we actually have to open the book, okay, open the Torah, read it in English, Hebrew, whatever we want, okay, to try to give ourselves the light, to awaken the question, to awaken the desire to give unconditionally. Okay, so from here we see that these 4 sons are not 4 children. Okay, they are 4 responses which actually happen within all of us, okay, to the desire of giving unconditionally. Any questions? All right then, let's have a look at the commentaries. This is from Rabbi Baruch Shalom Ashlag, okay, and some very kind person pick them out and put them in the right place next to the piece that we're learning. Baruch HaMakom, blessed is the desire. היינו בזמן שאדם זוכה לקבל את בחינת חיסרון של הבורא, שהוא רצון להשפיע, אז האדם נותן תודה לשם עבור זה. When a person merits to receive the lack of the Creator, which is the will to give unconditionally, then a person gives thanks to God for this. That God gave him his desire, which is the desire of giving unconditionally. For this is what the Creator has. And the person needs to get to this level, that he will have the will to give unconditionally. Therefore we say, blessed is the desire. That God gave us the place, which is his lack, which is the will to give. That in this will of the Creator, the Creator can fill him up with good and joy. All right? Okay, everyone? כנגד 4 בנים דיברה תורה.
We don't have the text up at the moment.
What, love?
We don't have the text up at the moment.
Sorry?
I can't see the text.
You can't. It says I'm sharing, okay.
Is it me? Maybe it's just my telephone.
It might be your telephone, sweetie. Yeah.
Because I had the text
Everybody
before.
else okay? It says I'm sharing it.
Okay, so maybe it's just my phone. Okay, sorry.
Right. Okay. The Torah spoke about 4 sons. Keneged arba banim dibar Torah. Should be okay. Well, let me know if you can't see it, anybody else. Keneged arba banim dibar Torah. The Torah spoke about 4 sons. Why? Mitam ki kol Torah irakavo yetzara. Because the whole reason for having the Torah is for us to be able to deal with the Yetzer Hara. Okay, do you remember? The angels accused Moses when he went up onto the mountain to get the Torah. There's this very beautiful midrash, okay, when they accused and they said, what's this human being, this son of a woman doing up here? Okay, Yulud Isha, what's this guy doing up here? What do you want to give your precious Torah to flesh and blood for? And God said to Moses, answer them. And he said, have you got a Yetzer Hara? Do you get angry? Do you get jealous? No, you don't need the Torah then. We do, because we have those attributes. As the sages have said, Barati Yetzer Hara, Barati Torah Tavlim. I created the Yetzer Hara. I created Torah as its healing. Lachain, she'eno yodeh lishol, therefore one who doesn't even know that there is a lack, that there's a problem, at patachlo, the Torah needs to open for him. Okay, in other words, the Torah needs to show him you have a Yetzer Hara, okay, and therefore you need the Torah. V'yesh lishol, ma tzrichim lishol, what do we need to ask for? V'im eizeh dvar potchim lo, and what do we open for him? U'maya skula shochim liftochim le'mi she'eno yodeh lishol, and what's the virtue in the Torah that can open the way for somebody who doesn't even know what to ask for? V'inyanim, and the issue is, because yesh Yetzer Hara, yesh tzorech leTorah, that when there is an evil inclination, there is a need for Torah. Now, is there somebody who doesn't have an evil inclination? No. But the point is, it doesn't matter if we've got one or not. The problem is not knowing that we've got a Yetzer Hara. All right? That's the real issue with the she'eno yodeh lishol. The one who doesn't ask, it's not that he doesn't have a Yetzer Hara. Of course he has. Everybody has. All right? We wouldn't be alive if we didn't have one. But what it means is he's not got awareness that he's using it. So he doesn't think he needs the Torah. Lachen, im adam ma'amin b'sachar v'onesh. Okay, if a person simply believes in consequences, rewards and punishments, then he's able to fulfill the Torah and mitzvot because he thinks he's going to get a prize for doing it. Okay, or God forbid the opposite. And therefore he doesn't ask the question of the wicked, what does this service mean to you? Okay, like he's not aware of the wicked aspect within him. Because he can't see his own evil, he doesn't see he's got a need for the Torah. Therefore, the Torah needs to open this aspect for him. If you see there's a person who's practicing the Torah mitzvot simply because he's believing in prizes or punishments, he's actually closed. His consciousness is closed. That is, that the evil within him is closed and is hidden from him. And since it's hidden, he can't correct it. Because a person can only correct what his eyes see. Therefore, what needs to happen next is melamdin azita adam lavod shalom lakavas. Oh, now we need to teach a person to work, to serve God, not for the sake of receiving reward. Oh, now see what happens. And then the evil within him, his ego within him, rises up and he says, Mavo dazot lachem. What does this service mean to you? Okay. So now you can see that from Sheino Yodei Lishol, okay, the moment we start correcting that aspect of ourselves by opening the Torah, the moment we start trying to work for the sake of giving, that's when the evil comes along. It's not we didn't have it before, but we weren't aware of it. Okay. All right. And he says, what does this service mean to you? From which we understand that the Sad Hara, the wicked son, okay, the Rasha within us is actually a higher consciousness, according to this, than the one who doesn't know how to ask. All right? He is at least aware of his evil within him, whereas the one who doesn't know how to ask is unaware. Okay? So the one who is evil, who's the Rasha within us, the consciousness of the Rasha within us is actually quite a high level of consciousness. He's aware of the evil within him, and he can hear the question, Mavo dazot lachem, what does this service mean to you? What will happen to me if we serve God without getting anything back? This is against our nature. We were born with a nature which wants to give ourselves pleasure. And not to give pleasure to the other guy without any compensation. And the moment the person can hear that question within him, then the person suddenly needs the Torah. And then it's relevant to say, I created the evil inclination. I created the Torah as its healing spice. Is not the case when he doesn't have an evil inclination. When he can't see, he's got within him his will to receive for himself alone. Because that only is called evil, nothing else. And then he can hear the Rasha, okay, the Rasha within him. Ma'omer, what does the Rasha say? Mavo dazot lachem. What does this service mean to you? Lachem v'lo lo, to you, not to him. Because he took himself out of the general rule, like we said, blasphemed against the main issue, which is giving for the sake of giving. So what you meant to do? Ignore him, okay? Just tell him, I hear you, but I'm going to do something else. I'm going to choose what to do anyhow. So you let him grind his teeth. And say to him, tell him it's because of what God did for me when I came out of Egypt. Li v'lo lo. If for me, not for him, if he'd been there, he wouldn't have been redeemed. He couldn't have been redeemed because even if God had redeemed him, he would have gone straight back. Okay? Many commentators have really asked this question about the wicked aspect. What is the seriousness? Why is it such a crime? What he said, Mavo dazot lachem, what does this service mean to you? That he took himself out of the general community. And if he'd been there, he wouldn't have been redeemed. יש להתבונן במהותה של גלות מצרים. We need to really look at what is the essence of the exile of Egypt. במה שעובדו, במה היו העינויים. What were they enslaved by? What was the afflictions? בפרשת בשלח כתוב על תלונות בני ישראל ביציאתם ממצרים. In the Parshat Bashalach, when it's written about the complaints of the children of Israel when they came out of Egypt, Mi tenu tenu bamidbar, b'shivtenu osir basar. Okay, who would give us? Mi tenu tenu. If only let us die, and we want to go back to Egypt. When we sat by the cauldron of flesh of meat there, and also in Parshat Ba'alotcha. זכרנו את הדגה שנאכל במצרים חינם, את הקישואים ואת האבטיחים ואת החציר ואת הפרצים והסומים. We remember the fish which we ate in Egypt for free. We remember the cucumbers or the courgettes or zucchini, the watermelons and the onions and the garlic. Huh? What are they talking about? דבר זה מורד מהר הבא. This awakens tremendous stupefaction, I would say. Was it worth it for a pot of meat to go back to serving the Egyptians with mortar and bricks? Or was it worth it for some garlic and onions to go back to Egypt and to be afflicted under the cruel hand of the Egyptians? And the Haggadah says, if they didn't have bricks, they would put the children of Israel in the building. To such a place they wanted to return. But the whole, that literally, this doesn't make sense. You have to be crazy, okay? But the Holy Ari says, the exile of Egypt was the exile of our connection with a connective knowledge. Who are we connecting with? Da'atam shel Yisrael, the da'at of Israel, which should be connected with God, hayta mushubet Pharaoh, was enslaved to Pharaoh. Because serving God means the ability of a person to do the actions for the sake of God. And not for his own sake. And b'Mitzrayim ayu b'nei Yisrael mushubadim ladato shel Paro. But in Egypt, the children of Israel were enslaved to the view of Pharaoh, shaya semel anochiyut, which is the symbol of egoism, the ultimate of egoism. V'lo yochlu lekaven avodatam shetieh l'shem shamayim, and they were not able to intend their service for God, that it should be for the sake of God. From this we understand that also the redemption is the redemption of our connection. Okay? When the children of Israel were freed from the servitude of the Pharaoh, they were able to serve their service for the sake of God. And accordingly, we can now understand what the question of the Rasha really was and why it's a serious question. And it comes up with our consciousness, all right, when a person starts to try to serve God unconditionally. Before that, it doesn't come up, all right? Then it begins to come up. What does this service mean to you? Kloma, lachem avodah zo. You've got this service, okay? Im tasku b'avodatchem l'shem Hashem. Sorry. If you practice your service only for the sake of God, what use will spring up from him? La'anatchem apratit, for your private enjoyment. L'shem ma kol zeh, what is all this for? Nimtza shekafar be'ikar. We find that he blasphemed in the most important aspect. V'al ken v'af ata ke'et shinav. Therefore, you hit at his teeth, let him grind his teeth. Ve'emolo ba'avur zeh Hashem asa Hashem li b'tzeti Mitzrayim. And say, because of this, what God did for me when I came out of Egypt, li v'lo lo, to me, but not him, not that part of myself which isn't interested in coming out of Egypt. Ki kol gulat Mitzrayim hayta shu'cha la'avod l'shem shamayim, because the whole of the redemption of coming out of Egypt was I will be able to serve for the sake of God, lishtachrer me'ani, to get free of that egoism. If he was there, he wouldn't be able to be redeemed, because we couldn't redeem him. Because the idea of redemption only is appropriate when there was a previous exile. And the problem is, the Rasha within us doesn't feel he's in exile. If he doesn't feel he's in exile, how can he be redeemed? The wicked part of ourselves doesn't feel suffering at all from being enslaved to our own ego. He agrees wholeheartedly to the view of Pharaoh that a service of a person needs to be only in order to give pleasure to himself, and not to give pleasure to the Creator. He didn't get into exile in Egypt. He is in exile, but he can't feel he's in exile. That's the point, okay? A person can be in the exile of Egypt but not feel it, all right? And if he doesn't go into exile, how does he get redeemed? One of the most fascinating pieces that I want to bring up now is, I've lost the, wait a minute. Oh, I paused the thing, did I? Yes, new share. Oh, stop share. All right, one of the things that I really want to point out now is the aspect of, why can't I find the bit I want? Here, we shall find it. There's Rat Hashem. Yes, here we go. Now do new share. New share, right. That's it. Is to look for a moment, okay, at the ke'ara. Okay, here's a picture of the Seder plate, all right, and all the elements laid out on the Seder plate, okay, according to the scheme of the Ari. Okay, so you've got Chesed is on the right hand side, and that's the Zroah, okay, which represents the Zroah Netuya, God's outstretched arm, okay. On the left, you've got Gvura, which is represented by the Beitzah, the hard-boiled egg, because we need a masach, okay, we need an ability to say no to our will to receive on the left-hand side, okay, and also from that side also comes prayer, and prayer in a Beitzah in Aramaic is biyah, which is also an expression of request or prayer. But most fascinating of all to me is the place of the bitter herbs. It's right in the middle, okay, the middle line, Tiferet and Yesod. So if we look at the three lines, okay, you've got the right-hand line, which is called the line of Chesed. You've got the left-hand line, which is called the line of Din, judgment. And right in the middle line, you have the middle line, which is called the line of Rachamim, okay, is compassion. So why does the Holy Ari put the bitter herbs in the place of compassion in the middle line? And the answer is very related to what we've just been learning. If we are in exile, but we don't realize we're in exile, we can't get out. This answers a very interesting question that I had for many years, which was, if the children of Israel were in exile for 200 and something years, okay, what happened for the 200 years before they cried out to God? Because the Haggadah seems to say they cried out, God heard their cry, and started the process of redemption. And what the Holy Ari says is that they were in exile of the da'at. They actually thought that serving the Egyptians was good. They weren't aware of the damage it was doing to themselves, all right? And it's only when we are aware in our time, okay, of the damage we're doing to ourselves when we serve our own Egypt, when we serve our own inner Pharaoh, when we serve our own will to receive ourselves alone, only then can we ask to get out, okay? If we're not aware of the bitterness that's caused by our use of our will to receive ourselves alone, we have no cause to pray to God to help us stop it, all right? So now you see what is very interesting, that the bitterness of the exile is actually compassion. When we can feel the bitterness of our will, using our will to receive ourselves alone, that's when we're ripe for redemption.
Yedida.
Before that, we can't, yeah.
Yedida, what happened to make us aware that we were miserable?
That's a very, 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 very good question. What happened to make us aware that we were? Well, it says in the Torah, Vayamot melech Mitzrayim, and the king of Egypt died. Vayamchu b'nei Israel min avodah, and the children of Israel sighed from the work. Okay. So Rabbi Ashak asks a very interesting question. He says, what's the connection between the king of Egypt dying and the children of Israel sighing, okay, from the work? And the answer is that the control of the king, okay, of Egypt, in their hearts died. Now, why did that happen? Okay. There's 2 aspects you can think. Either that, first of all, that God caused that, okay, and I'm sure that's the truth. And it's also because the neshama has a desire to give. The neshama is awake in each one of us. It might be sleeping, okay? Like it says, Ani yeshena v'libi el. I am asleep, but my heart, my soul is awake, and it's wanting to come back to God. So at some point or other, the soul itself wakes up and says, hey, okay? And it's either sometimes it's through Torah, sometimes it's through Yisurim, but at one point or other, kol dodito fake, the sound of my beloved is knocking, okay? Wake up, all right? And God, and what actually happens is God is himself calls to us. He doesn't want to leave us in exile, all right? And when the children of Israel is in exile, the Shekhinah is in exile with them. We're not left alone, all right? So there is within us that want to wake up, that desire to return, okay? And when that happens, Vayamot melech Mitzrayim, then the king of Egypt, the governance of the Egyptian within us dies. And then we can cry out to God and he can help us. Okay. Very good question. Lovely question. All right. Okay. So just to complete here, we've got the Sfirot, Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod. The Ka'ara itself is the Malchut, okay? And we have the three Matzot. So the three Matzot are Chochmah, Bina, Dat, and the covering of the Matzot is Keter. So we actually see on the Seder plate itself the full 10 Sfirot. The full 10 Sfirot is the whole name of God, Yud, He, Vav, He. All right, that's the full name of God there on the Seder plate, on our Seder table, which I think is just phenomenal. It's just amazing. All right. So we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left. So let's just do one more aspect for the Seder night. Let me see. Let's open the 4 kosot. Wait a minute. No, I'm in the wrong spot. Yes, okay. So if we look at the 10 Sfirot as being present on the Seder table through the Seder plate, they're also present in another way. Let's have a look at this. Can you see that okay? The four cups? I'm not sure you can. Let me do that again, just in case. Let's do that, one moment. Let's do that, new share screen. There. Right, that should do it. Right. Amar Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi said, Elu Abba Kosot Shalaylahu Lama. These 4 cups on that night, why is that? Amar Rabbi Abba. Rabbi Abba said, Harehe Mido Haberim Shem Keneged Arba Gu'ulot. The companions have established that these are for the 4 expressions of redemption. Botzeti, Bitzalti, V'ga'alti, V'lakachti. And I brought you out, and I will deliver you, and I will redeem you, and I will take you. These are for the 4 expressions of redemption that we find in Exodus. Okay. Aval yafer Parashat Va'era. But beautiful is the explanation of the book of Rabbi Yossi Saba, Sha'amar, who said, since the holy zivug, that means zivug means the light comes into the vessel, okay, is present, Balaylahu, on that night, B'kolat Stadim, from all sides, Bein b'chochma, bein b'chasadim, both with the light of chochma, which is the light that God brings down to us, the light of redemption, bein b'chasadim, the light that we give back to God by preparing all the cleaning the houses, getting rid of the chometz, preparing the Seder table, telling the story, okay, drinking the 4 cups of wine, eating the matzot, okay. So with both aspects are complete, all right, both what God gives to us and what we give to God. And this light comes into the vessel with 4 connections. What are they? 4 spiritual stages, which are not separated one from another. כשהזיווג זה נמצא, when this light is present, שאין חוכמה ובינה, תפארת ומלכות. Now, these are the four main sfirot, okay? And they are representative of Chachma is Yud, Bina is Hey, Tiferet is Vav, and Malchut is the last Hey. So here we again have all 10 Sfirot, because Yud is Keter and Chachma together, Hey is Bina, Tiferet contains within it Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and there's the Malchut, okay, the last Hey. So Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey is all 10 Sfirot. ואנו מתעוררים בשמחה שלהם, and so we awaken with their joy. ושותים כנגדן 4 כוסות, and we drink for them 4 cups of wine. משום שזכינו בהם, because we've merited to this. Why? Through our fathers, through our forefathers who believed in God and came out of Egypt with faith. כמי שאחוז בזה, because whoever connects with this, היינו בהארת הזיווג, with this illumination of the great light of redemption which comes into the world on Seder night, zocher b'kol 4 madrigot, merits to all 4 levels, Chochma, Bina, Tiferet, and Malchut, which is Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. And therefore, yes, this night really is different from all other nights. So we need to both make manifest, to make, okay, we can't make God's name, we can make it manifest and unite God's name in all ways. And to rejoice on this night, because it is a joy both above and below. Okay, my dears. All right. Okay, wow. Personally, I find that very inspiring. All right, my dearies. Okay, so I want to wish you all a Hag Kasher v'Sameach. Very happy in Kosher Pesach. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're very, very,
Same
very
to you.
Yay, lovely.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
my
Chag
dearies.
Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom, Lauren. Lovely to see you again.
Do we have a
You
class
too.
next week on Chol Hamoed? Yedida or not?
Chol Hamoed, there is hardly a Chol Hamoed. Chol Hamoed is only Sunday and Monday. I mean, next week.
Oh no, next week on Thursday. No, it's oh no. We
Yeah,
got
no,
our Seder night.
yeah.
Yeah, we got our second Seder night next week.
You've got your second Seder night. That's right. No.
Yeah, that's true. We got a
absolutely.
3-day hug next week. We got a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. No. It's no.
Yeah, that's true. And then the week after, we've also got Thursdays also.
Yeah, I can't remember, but anyhow, the next time it's not Yom Tov. We'll do.
No,
it.
but like the Thursday after that as well, it's very late going out on the Thursday in Copenhagen.
It's Yom Tov Sheni Shel HaGolut.
Yeah, and it's going to go out very late on the.
Okay, right. So yeah,
Yeah.
not to worry, everybody. So
It'll
it'll
be a few weeks.
when you're all not Yom Tov anymore. It'll be great.
Okay. Hag
All right.
Sameach.
Okay, very good, everybody. All right, take care.
Bye.
All right.
Thanks for
lovely.
coming to see me.
Yeah. Oh,